What's up, YouTube? This is your girl, Megan the Maverick. Welcome back to my channel, cousins. However, if this is your first time joining me on today, hit that subscribe button to become part of the family. You know you want to. Also, hit the notification bell so that way you will be alerted whenever I make a new post, all right? And if you like what you see and what you hear, click the thumbs up button, share this video with a friend. Let's grow the discussion. And also, my goddamn channel, okay? So, this is a part 2 of follow-up to my Kevin Samuels video that I uploaded earlier today. And sometimes I do this. I'll have brain dumps and then somebody will say something that'll trigger or spark a thought, or, you know, I'll be like, wait a minute, I'm not done. I'm not done, because there are some key points that I would like to follow up with, okay? Now, in my initial video, I stated that I actually agree with the content of what this man was saying to this lady on his show, being that a lot of what he was talking about, or a lot of his supportive reasoning and the logic that he's using, it holds true and it rings true in society. Not necessarily that I agree with it, because you can feel however you want to feel about it. You know, I personally don't agree. But the truth of the matter is, we live in a society that prioritizes men with money, wealth, power. And those men then in turn prioritize women who fit a very small, very narrow margin. But there are some key things that were left out of the discussion, because a lot of these high value male channels, they're black men, in the same way that a lot of these level up, female channels, their counterparts are black women. Now, one thing that I will say, or another difference that I find that is very key between the high value male center channels versus the female channels, is that the female channels like Chrissy, like Paris Milan and others actually advocate dating outside of your race, which I'm all for. I actually agree with that. Okay, so the whole concept of feeling like you have to bend over backwards, or maybe you have to conform to be a certain person in order to attract a black man. I mean, you can if you want, but you don't have to. I really think as black women, we limit ourselves way too much. And that also ties back into the standard thing. So I feel like, that could shift the dynamics of this conversation a bit, but it was still kind of, it would still kind of be the same, because even if we're talking about really wealthy white men, really wealthy men who are not black, they too only date a certain kind of woman. So it goes back to what I was saying initially in my previous video. I'm not saying that this is correct and this is the way, this is justified. But if you are the type of woman who has the mindset that I want to get a man like this, and I'm all for using these men, use them. But you have to, have a game mindset. And, if you don't meet the requirements to play, you got to figure out what can you do so that you can get in the game, or, change what you value. And that's something else that I wanted to point out too. There's a lot of talk on high value this, high value that. Values are very subjective. So, if you value a man with money, the truth of the matter is there are certain things you have to do to get that man with money. Or a certain caliber, right? Within a certain tax bracket. Same thing with men. If a man wants a woman who presents herself like this, if he wants a high grade IG model or whatever the, equivalent is in women, he has to do certain things 9 times out of 10, make a lot of money in order to get her. So, that science, that formula, is not a matter of just, opinion. It's like, am I tripping y'all? Do y'all not see that in reality? Is that not perpetrated in society? Also, there is a lot of semantics that we can play with the word average, because that is a word that this man Kevin used to describe this woman. Now, as I said it before, also, in my opinion, I feel like she's below average. But who am I? I may be below average to somebody. I may be way above average to the next individual. It's all subjective. Really. But from a macro standpoint, there are a lot of there is a lot of data to support a group of people kind of trending towards one demographic or one type of, woman versus the other. Same thing with women. The women who have a certain amount of beauty or who have a lot of capital in our way, right? In the way that we're rewarded in society, we prefer dating men who look a certain way and, whatever. Y'all like how I said we? I'm working on it. I'm working on me, okay? It's okay to level up, ladies. I'm working on me. But I will say this, though. I noticed a lot of black men are very, they agree with him for different reasons than I agree with Kevin, okay? So a lot of black men, and I'm noticing this, have grown increasingly uncomfortable by the platforms, by these, level up platforms, and just by black women in general, because I've noticed over the past few years, there is this popular sentiment that we should not take less. The black women are actually getting some standards about themselves. And it definitely intimidates black men. And I noticed that the gaslighting tactics turn on and it come on and it hits 1,000 because these will be men who use that word entitlement and say things like, even in my, my initial video, somebody used that in the comment section. Well, I was happy to see him say that to her because a lot of these women feel like they're entitled. And I would argue the exact opposite. Black women, just once again, as a collective and for a long ass time, are the only group of women, okay, who date down at a disproportionate rate than everyone else. Because when we're talking about black men, y'all ain't got nothing. As a collective, let's just be honest. Okay, you're the least educated group, amongst your peers. And for all of my hoteps and my shea butter kings, spare me the diatribe about the man and oppression and institutionalized racism. I'm well aware of that, okay? Different conversation for a different day. But since y'all like talking about the cold, stone hard facts, okay, the cold, stone hard facts, void of your emotions and feelings, are that y'all are at the bottom of the totem pole. And those black men, that small little sliver of black men who would, constitute as being, quote unquote, high value, fine. This man claims he speaks for them. He represents them. I know nothing of him personally. Maybe he does. Fine, dandy, whatever, okay? But the regular, degular, schmegular male finds joy in calling himself humbling the black woman or watching a black woman get humbled. And as I stated before in my initial video as well, I feel like this is what that was for a lot of people. And when you take into account the fact that I feel like this whole entitlement thing is just a projection of a lot of black men's insecurities because struggle culture is promoted far and wide. It's a lot of women out here who are willing to settle for the man handing out Zax sauces at Zaxby's with 59 baby mamas. It's so many black women out here who are willing to be regular and average, and they look average, and they're ready to find an average man and be happy. But I just think that watching black women aspire to more really triggers something in a lot of these average or even below average black men, to the point where you think our standards are entitlement. Now, I will say it can cut in the opposite direction. So ladies, let these nakers have their standards. Let them have their standards. Now, it just so happens that a lot of y'all use colorism as a standard, but we're going to leave a different video for a different day. We ain't even finna go off in that, okay? We ain't even finna go off on the light skins and y'all preference for the interracials and the exoticals and trying to pass that off as a standard and trying to make that the same equivalent, whatever. But I will say, that video with Kevin Samuels is a prime example of, I think it's fair to say that women should respect men's, their ability to have standards. All right. That's fine. But men, and black men specifically, I'm going to need y'all to also respect women's standards, black women's standards, without projecting it as entitlement. Because the truth is, a lot of y'all do not qualify. Even when we're talking about for average women, a lot of y'all are below average in the category that matters, on your end, which is money, education, wealth, power. So it's like, And even an average woman or a woman who looks average physically, which, like I said, we can play the semantics game about what average looks like. I don't think average has to be a bad thing. The average woman could still have standards. And I think that's just where the problem is. Y'all want women who don't have any standards. Just because I'm average does not mean I can't have any kind of standards for myself. All right? I have every right to pass up on a person who does not meet that criteria. So I just want to make that very clear, okay? And just kind of flesh out some of my ideas and points because, like we agree, but we like don't agree when I'm noticing a lot of you guys speak. So there you go. There you have it. Feel free to share your opinions in the comment section. Practice unconditional self-love so that you can love others. And until the next video, I holla. Bye.